Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Doing business in life with a purpose, serving others, but also achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Ramona, and we created this show for you because we want everyone to learn how to do business and life to make an impact in the world. It could be big or it could be small. I want you to think about who are you going to serve today and what impact are you going to make today? And that leads to my guest, who is from Cameroon, an African country, and came to America and just doing so well, showing you that doesn't matter where you come from, where you are, you can be successful and still be a servant leader. Christelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Steve, for having me. Such a pleasure and honor to be here today.
Well, thank you. And let's talk about crossing the ocean. Come from Cameroon,
Yes,
you come to the United States. Talk about all about that.
yes. I was in Cameroon doing what I had to do, living my life. And eventually my dream, made me decide to come to the country where they said anything is possible. Anyone can become anything. The American dream. So I bought into the dream and I decided to move here in 2015. At the time, I could barely speak English, had no family or friends here. So it was really a big jump. And I know your listeners are entrepreneurs or people having to make those kind of difficult decisions or big jump in their lives so they can understand what was happening. So I landed at LAX December 31st, 2015. So I'm close to the anniversary of me landing at LAX. And something interesting happened. An immigration officer accused me of coming here to work as a prostitute and tried to get me deported back to Cameroon. Now, don't ask me why, because I have no idea. But anyway, I ended up in a detention center where I spent 9 months before winning my case. That was an interesting experience, to say the least. So, yeah, sometimes people ask me, why did you spend 9 months there? Good question. I spent 9 months there because I didn't want to give up on myself and on my dream.
Yeah.
I didn't have to stay there for 9 months. I could have signed a deportation paper anytime and be deported back to Cameroon. But that was an option that I didn't want to take. So maybe as you're listening, you might be thinking, or maybe people have been telling you, why are you giving yourself such a headache with this business? Why are you putting yourself through all of this? Just go back and get a job. Nothing wrong with having a job, but just like there was nothing wrong with me going back to Cameroon, right? But sometimes when you have a big vision or a goal that you really want to achieve, a vision that is really close to your heart, you have to make those tough decisions to not give up. So that's why I stayed there for 9 months until I finally, got a chance to defend myself in front of a judge and I won my case. So yeah, that's how it all started. And here I am today. Luckily, I didn't give up at that time.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be here with you today.
amen. I'm happy for that. To be honest, because you're such a great person. And what I'm learning from you is it took one person to completely pivot your life. Where, like you said, you could have given up, but you didn't. What's the lesson you learned from that?
The lesson that I learned from that is that we don't give ourselves enough credit as human beings in general. Because I promise you that if when I was applying for my visa in Cameroon to come to the United States during the interview, they told me, listen, when we give you this visa, you will arrive at LAX and get arrested, put in jail for 9 months before actually entering the country. I would have said, hold up, no thanks. I can't survive one day in jail. But look at what happened, right? I could have never imagined in a million years that I can survive one night in jail, but I ended up spending 9 months there. So that's why I say that was a lesson for me, but probably that we can all share as humans to say, we don't give ourselves enough credit. Sometimes when we think about something, we think this is too much, this is too big, maybe it's a goal, maybe it's a vision, and we say, I don't have what it takes, I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't know the right people. We put all those limitations on ourselves. So that experience was an opportunity for me to see how strong I truly was, to see that actually I could take more than I was thinking I could, that I was more braver than I thought I was, that I had more resilience in me than I thought I had. So that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned from that experience for sure.
Amazing. 9 months in immigration, you actually grew. as a better
Mhm.
person. That's a lesson too in itself. And it's a powerful lesson that you're telling us. And I love it. With that being said, it takes a village to make decisions. What advice from your parents, your mom and dad that you got that may have helped you in this situation or is helping you now?
My dad always told us that we should aim for the moon, because
Mm.
even if we don't hit it, we're going to at least land on the stars. And he will tell us, never let anyone know, even if you're going, through the toughest time in your life, even if you didn't have food to eat, when you show up in the world, show up like you the best self, your best self. Don't let anyone feel sorry for you. Show up as the best version of yourself. Dress up better than the day you had food, actually, because you never want people to feel sorry for you. You always want people to come to you looking for solutions, even if you are struggling. That was a big lesson, because sometimes when life gets tough, we want to feel sorry on ourselves. So sometimes we'll use past experiences to justify why today we're not showing up for ourselves. So today we can use, all of us have had difficult times in our lives that we can use to justify why we don't show up, why we don't do the things that we should be doing. But when we come from that place of what my dad told, no, don't show up as a victim in the world, but show up as someone who brings solutions at all time. Even if you can't figure it out yourself, show up as a person who can actually figure it out. So that was a real way to build my mindset, in that sense of, I don't find myself in situations and thinking there is no way I can. No, I always come from a place of, there is a way out of this, and I will figure it out. And what my mom told me that really helps me is that she said something really simple. We usually hear people say, no one taught us about money. That's true. But my mom gave me some valuable, lesson about money. She said, always give a name to your money. Money, if you're expecting maybe your paycheck or some payments from clients, decide that this money, when it comes in, maybe I'm going to use it to buy a car, or maybe to invest in this project. When you give money a name to that money, you will not wake up one day and say, what did I do with all the money that I made? What happened? She said, because when your money has no name, it's like it has no destination, so you're going to waste it. So you always want, when you know money is coming, before it even arrives, know that I'm waiting, or maybe you are saving for something, have a plan. Don't just say, oh, I'm just saving for rainy days. No, if you put a name on it, it's harder for you to just spend it on things you don't need. We are during the holidays. How many people will end up buying things they don't actually need?
Yeah.
Because that money has no name. So it's easy to spend it on anything. But if your money has a name, I promise you, before you spend it, you will wonder, is it worth it?
That's such a great advice. I tell you what, your parents are a gift. I love the word gift because that's where the servant heart comes from. What a great gift for you.
Yes, absolutely. It's really important in life to have people around you. And that's why community is so important in anything you do. Having the right people around you will make a difference in everything that you do. Even when I was in that immigration center, the people that were around me, the other women that were there in detention with me, were such a source of support with the advice they were giving me, because they were prepared to be there. I thought having a visa was enough. But the way they came into the country, they knew they would be there. So they were prepared. I wasn't. So they would give me advice and let me know, what to expect and prepare me better. So having people around you to support you, to cheer you on, because sometimes I would cry so hard and feel so desperate, they would be there to tell me, you got this. So sometimes you just need that person in your corner. It can be a coach, it can be a mentor, it can be a business partner, it can be a friend. Anyone, a family member who believes in you, can just help you during those tough times that, again, we will experience regardless. Having those people around you, the right people to tell you got this, it's so critical. So I'm so grateful for my mom and dad who put the right information in my brain even before I was able to understand the value of those things. But yes, I'm grateful for them.
And the beautiful thing is you get to share the gift with everybody, like this podcast, my audience and me. And that's what the power of those gifts. I'm big on decision making. How important is making decisions was big for you and staying there in the 9 months?
Making decision is something you can't live without. Sometimes I hear people say, I'm really bad at making decisions, but we're always making decisions.
Yeah.
Even you deciding to not make a decision is a decision.
Mhm.
So get out of that conversation of, I'm bad with making decisions. I don't know what, no. When you don't make a decision, you're already making a decision. So just decide and just choose the right decision for yourself at the moment. So to come back to that situation when I was in detention center, and usually I love to talk a lot about courage and bravery and resilience. Those are things that really people talk about a lot, but none of that happens before a decision. A courageous action doesn't take place if no one decides to take that action, right? So the decision is the beginning of everything. You decide to show up or you don't. You decide to give up or you don't. You decide to finally start that business, that goal that you have in your heart, or you don't. So we're always making decisions, even if we think, oh no, I'm not good at this, I'm not going to make any. That's a decision. So I will just, to answer your question, making a decision is the beginning of everything, and there's no other way around it. So you better just be more conscious of the decisions that you're making, and knowing that every decision that you make leads you somewhere. The decision that I had to make for 9 months to not sign a deportation paper, to stay there until I figure it out, until I have a chance to prove to a judge that I deserve to be here, I'm not a criminal. That was a tough one, but I had to make it every single day. Just like anything else in life, that's what life is about. When you wake up in the morning, you have a decision to make. What are you going to do with your day? That's a decision that no one can make for you. You have to decide, am I going to show up? Am I going to do the things that I need to do? Am I going to be the person that I want to be? Or what am I going to do? So we are always invited to make a decision.
That's one of the best answers to that question I've heard in my 240 shows. It's so impactful because it's that simple. And for you, it was life changing. Not all decisions are that way. And I say indecisiveness is a root of all problems with business and life, because that's worse than making a decision wrong or right. I mean, you wouldn't have been wrong and said, I want to be deported. It would have changed your life. But being indecisive, yeah, no, I don't. Yes, I know. You made the decision. I'll stay here as long as I have so I can stay in America. And thank you. What a great lesson. But that leads to the other side of it. What are you so fearful of? What's your most fear right now?
My biggest fear right now is to be on my dying bed one day and think that I didn't do what I came here to do. That scares me a lot. That's why every day I show up and I do everything that I can, that I want to do, because I don't want to be that person lying on that bed and thinking, I wish, if
Man,
only.
that's not what I expected for an answer, but it's so true. We all will die. I'm
Mhm.
just going to throw it out there. And that's what you're saying. And what's your legacy going to look like? One of my guests used the credits after a movie. What's your credits after you die that people are going to read, see, and feel? And we have a chance right now, this minute, and whoever's listening to make that. I love that. But then let's go the other side. What are you most proud of?
I am most proud of the fact that I believe in myself. I'm proud of that because it's not common. I meet so many people, as I mentioned earlier, who don't give themselves enough credit. And I'm proud that I just believe that I can do things that sometimes scare me, but I just show up for them. I'm proud of that trait. I know it's not common. I know life can get scary. We're talking about making decisions. It's scary. We know that, but I'm proud of the person that God made me to be. Sometimes I
Amen.
say it's a gift because I don't know why I'm that way, but I am that way. And I'm proud of that I show up. Nothing stops me. The word impossible is not the reason for me to not at least give it a shot. So I'm proud of that.
Thank you. Because showing up is as bad as indecision. You know how many doors people have missed probably listening to this show because they didn't show up. They had a sniffle. They walked their dog and all those different scenarios. And there's times you can't show up. You might have COVID or whatever. But thank you, because that is a huge tip.
You're
Let's
very
talk about
welcome.
servant. You're a huge servant. What does a servant leader look like to you?
A servant leader is someone who serves the world beyond serving themselves. Because when you are a servant leader, you don't only think about what's comfortable or convenient for you. You think about what needs to be done for everybody, for as many people as possible to be happy. And I use the word happiness not lightly because it's something that has been in my heart since I'm a little girl. I remember walking in the streets of Cameroon, little girl me, looking at adults and wondering, is this person happy? Strange question for a little girl to wonder, worry for adults, right? Usually adults should be worrying for kids. But I was that child who look at adults and wonder, is this person happy? And that question was heavy in my heart, even though my brain would kick in and say, why do you care? You don't even know them. But that was already a seed to show me that I am here for not just me, not just worry about me being happy, but also making sure that other people are happy, even if I don't know them. And that's how I grew up thinking about that, trying to find answers to that question, how to make it happen. And I would look at people like Oprah or Rihanna and see the influence that they had in my generation, especially Rihanna. And I would go to bed thinking, if only I had that level of influence, I could help people improve the quality of their lives. So that just shows you the threats of a servant leader, because you don't think about what will make your life better alone. You also think about what would make other people's lives better. And that's why I'm so always happy and honored to have the opportunity to share my story with the hopes that it will inspire someone to not give up on themselves. It will inspire someone to show up for the life they want. And I'm also so passionate about that I decided to make it my job, putting other people that I believe have a skill, a talent, a gift to serve people. I want to put them on those podcasts so they can serve as many people as possible, so that my little girl dream to making sure people are happy can be fulfilled. So when I say servant leader is that person that, don't only worry about themselves, but want to make sure that everyone else around them is happy. That's something that comes deep in my heart, because I think that's one of the reasons why I'm on this earth.
Serving spills into your business. You mentioned briefly. Let's delve into that a little bit more. How does serving work in your business?
Serving in my business is really showing up and impacting as many people as possible, right? When we have a business, we can serve or have so many clients only. We can have maybe 10 clients a year or 100, depending on the format of our business, or whatever the number is, it's limited. But when you get on a show like the conversation we're having here today, we don't know how many people are going to hear this conversation. Not all of them will reach out to me. Not all of them will want to work with me, but many of them, more than the people who reach out to me, will be impacted, will maybe remember something that will help them along the lines. So that's why for me in my business, when I put those experts on those big shows, the goal for me is to have that level of impact. Not just visibility so that they can have enough clients in their businesses, but beyond, the people that will work with them will benefit from their expertise to improve the quality of their lives. They will be able to impact thousands of people some way, somehow, maybe by sharing a knowledge during an interview that will help someone just feel better for one day, just to move the needle just a little bit. So that's why I'm so passionate about my agency, and that's how I see service in what I do. Beyond me, all the experts, we are impacting thousands of lives. Maybe we cannot have thousands of clients, but we are still impacting thousands of lives.
Audience, this is why I had Christelle on the show. That right there is a servant business. In Cliff Notes, it's much deeper than that. But that's, if you have a business model after that, you're going to be successful. We're running out of time here, but this is a question I really want to ask you. I have an international audience. So somebody's listening in Africa or India or the UK, wherever, and they want to come to America to the dream, like you said earlier, which I love. That's what they say. And you're achieving it. You're so successful. What's advice you can give them if they're thinking about doing it? What should they do?
I would say just be prepared for life to prepare you. I don't know what your dream is, the reason why you want to buy into the American dream, but just know that the bigger your dream is, the bigger your desire to make it happen is, the bigger the training life will provide you, what we put you through. Mine was to spend 9 months in the detention center. We also can be something different, but just be prepared. That's all I'm going to say. Just be ready to show up for that dream no matter what, because it's not all about just landing in the States. Life will prepare you to become the person that can achieve the dream that brought you in the first place.
We ran out of time, but you hit a great word, dreams. How much did dreams change your life?
Oh my gosh. Dreams are the essence of life, because the only reason why we can have this conversation, through via Zoom is because someone dreamt it was possible and believed it's enough to make it happen. So dreams are really something that are close to my heart. When you're not a dreamer, you can't really change things. Only dreamers can see beyond what is visible right now, what is real right now, what is tangible right now. And when they go to that dream, they believe in it hard enough, they make it a reality for all of us.
Yeah, and if you don't dream big enough, you can't be a servant, inspire, motivate, and educate people like you've done on this podcast. People listening, they want to reach out to you. How can they find you, Christelle?
Yes, they can go to my website, exposuremaven.com, and send me a message. I will be happy to respond. They can also find me on any social media platform. My name is the same everywhere, Christelle Biiga. My main one is LinkedIn. And I also, if you go to my website, you will have the opportunity to sign up to a free workshop that I host, where I teach people how to, get booked on podcasts, because I really, again, it's free, because I just don't want people to have the excuse, I don't know how to get on podcast myself. I don't have money to pay you to do it for me. So that's why I share the information during that workshop, so that you have no excuse then. Go out there, share your story, share your expertise with the world. So if you go to my website, exposuremaven.com, you can grab your free ticket to that workshop.
Well, thank you. I love free, and I love when you give my audience free. So I truly appreciate you, and God bless you. Thank you for being on and being such a highlight of people's lives and a highlight of mine. Got a full book of notes here that I've learned. And everybody on the show, listening to the show or watching, thank you for doing that. And look for my next episode on doing business with a servant's heart. You all have an awesome day.